At 68, I no longer expected passionate nights like when I was young. But one night, something inside me shattered. She sat on the edge of the bed, her back to me. Her voice was quiet, but it hit like a punch to the chest. Am I still your wife, or just someone you sleep next to? Welcome to 60 Plus Wellness Vibes, where real stories are told with depth, compassion, and honesty. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship that looks fine on the outside, but feels distant inside, if you've ever sat in silence while your partner's eyes searched for closeness, this video is for you. And don't leave early, because later in this video, we'll uncover what top American sex therapists agree on. Silence is the quiet killer of senior intimacy. That night, I was stunned. I couldn't speak. She wasn't angry. She just turned to me, her eyes quietly asking a question I hadn't faced in years. In that moment, I realized I'd been drifting away from the woman who had shared her entire life with me. For nearly 2 years, we had shared a bed, but not our hearts. I had blamed age, blood pressure meds, heart medications. I assumed she understood. After all, I wasn't as strong as I used to be. But I was wrong. What she needed wasn't just sex. She needed to feel wanted, to know I still saw her beauty, still desired her, still wanted to hold her hand, pull her close on a chilly evening, and see her the way I once did. And truth is, I still wanted her, deeply. But I was afraid of failing. Afraid of not getting or staying hard. Afraid that I'd raise her hopes only to disappoint her again. I'm not alone in this. More than 52% of men over 65 in the US experience some form of erectile dysfunction. But according to the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP, less than 15% seek medical advice or even talk to their partner about it. Most choose silence. They stay silent when their wife tries to be close. Silent when their body doesn't cooperate. Silent even when they want help. But shame holds them back. And slowly, silently, that silence makes her feel unwanted, unseen, unloved. I know. I used to look at her undressing and feel a rush of desire, then turn away, pretending I was tired, just to avoid facing my own shame, until I finally realized senior intimacy doesn't have to be perfect, but it must be honest. A hug at the right moment, a gentle word, a glass of wine at night, candlelight in the bedroom. Sometimes it only takes that much to spark a connection, start a conversation, or reawaken something forgotten. I started again, slowly, no pressure, but with an open heart. I learned to ask, would you like us to try again? I learned to listen, to look into her eyes when she was quiet, to stop beating myself up for the moments when things didn't go as planned. Because even if it wasn't like before, it was real, and it was ours. In the next part of this video, I'll take you deeper. We'll talk about the small steps we took to rebuild intimacy, both emotional and physical. Don't miss it, because you may find this is your story too. And if this message resonates with something you've been quietly living with, hit that subscribe button for 60 Plus Wellness Vibes. Here, we don't preach, we share. And each week, we're here with stories that help you reconnect, not just with your partner, but with yourself. I started again, slowly. No pressure, no expectations, but this time with a heart fully open. That first night, after our conversation, I simply reached out and held her hand, gently, like we were on our very first date. She looked at me, surprised, and smiled. A smile I hadn't seen in a very long time. I said, let's just try, not for sex, but for closeness, real closeness. That was the first step, just one small step. But for couples in their 60s and 70s, that one step can feel like a breakthrough. Welcome back to 60 Soul's Wellness Vibes, where stories like mine and yours are shared with honesty and respect. If you've ever wanted to reach for your partner but hesitated, if you've ever feared rejection or failure, stay with me, because later in this video, I'll share what worked for us. No prescriptions, no fancy clinics, just heart-to-heart reconnection. One of the biggest things I learned is this: intimacy doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts with the little things. It starts with eye contact, with saying, "Good morning," instead of staying silent, with gently touching her shoulder as you pass by in the kitchen, with sitting beside her on the couch, watching a movie together, instead of each on separate screens. Day by day, inch by inch, that quiet distance began to shrink. One evening, she poured me a glass of wine. We sat side by side. Without words, I reached for her hand. That hand, older now, softer, worn from decades of caregiving and life, but still the hand I had held through so much. I didn't have to be strong like I was at 30. We didn't need to perform like we used to. We just needed to be honest with each other. Another night, we cuddled, not to have sex, just to hold one another. She rested her head on my chest and said, "I thought we had drifted too far apart, but you're still here." That sentence hit me deep. For so long, I thought I wasn't capable, but what she needed wasn't a perfect man, just the man she loved, fully present, aging body and all. That realization opened a door. I began learning. I read books. I listened to podcasts by sex and intimacy therapists who specialize in older adults. I found out there are breathing techniques that help regulate arousal and calm anxiety. There are gentle exercises that improve blood flow and energy. There are new ways to be close, positions, gestures, and rituals that focus on connection, not just performance. And I learned how to ask simple questions like, how does that feel for you? Do you want to stop? What would make this moment better for us? Then I listened, without ego, without shame. Over time, intimacy stopped being something we feared. It became something we looked forward to again. Not always perfect, but real. We laughed more. We sat on the porch longer. Sometimes we kissed in the kitchen like teenagers. Sometimes we just held hands in silence. In the next and final part of this video, I'll share the small, powerful shift that truly reignited our connection. Something simple, something almost anyone can try tonight. And if this message speaks to you, don't just listen and leave. Hit that subscribe button and join us here on 60 Plus Wellness Vibes. We don't offer cliches. We offer real, lived experiences from people who are still learning, still loving, still growing. Because you're never too old to feel wanted, and it's never too late to feel close again. One quiet morning, while washing my hands in the bathroom, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. An old man stared back, silver hair, sagging posture, lined skin. But his eyes held a light I hadn't seen in over a decade. I whispered to the reflection, "You're not done yet. You're just learning how to love all over again." That evening, I did something different. I didn't head straight to bed. Instead, I laid out a soft blanket on the living room floor, put on a classic jazz tune we used to dance to, poured a small glass of red wine, Then I invited her to sit beside me. We didn't talk much, just sat close, letting the soft golden light fall across her white hair. Then I picked up a book, a guide written by a sexologist for seniors, and read a few gentle passages out loud. Not to teach, but to open a door. She listened quietly. Her eyes shimmered. And then, for the first time in years, she placed her hand on my knee. That night, we were intimate again. There was no urgency, no pressure, just two aging bodies remembering how to hold each other, like the first time. I didn't need to perform. I didn't worry about being out of breath. I just breathed, slowly. Let each movement mean something. And most of all, I felt her eyes on me, not judging, just present, just there. The next morning, she smiled and said, "I thought that part of us was gone, but maybe it was just asleep, and we gently woke it, with kindness." That single sentence was the greatest reward I could ever ask for. My friend, I know not everyone can rebuild overnight, but you can begin. With the smallest gestures, a look that lingers, a gentle hand on a shoulder, a quiet whisper, "I miss you." Science backs this up. Gentle touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Daily emotional connection helps maintain natural desire. And most importantly, feeling seen and respected is the strongest aphrodisiac of all. Some people say, at 70, what's the point? But I say the opposite. It's now, at this age, that we're finally wise enough to know intimacy isn't about performance. It's a gift you offer, not with power or perfection, but with honesty and care. If you're wondering, can I still spark that fire? The answer is yes, but someone has to strike the first match. Why not you? Here on 60 Loose Wellness Vibes, we're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to share what's real, stories, struggles, truths, so you can find your own way in them. So if this video touched something in you, please share it. Because somewhere out there, someone might be sitting alone, in silence, wondering if they'll ever feel wanted again. And don't forget to subscribe. Next week, I'll share a story that's hard to believe, but 100% true, about a man in his 70s who rediscovered first-time passion just from cleaning the house with his wife. You won't want to miss it.